What's wrong with us?
That's a delightful thing to joke about.
So moving on from our favorite site, Kotaku.
Yeah, we're getting desperate for topics when we're pulling off to Kotaku.
So Jim threw this out there, and this is something I did see swirling around Twitter. I've said it many times, Jim's a Twitter guy. I just catch stuff here and there. But an unknown NES game found after 30 years, and it seems to be a wrestling game.
Yeah, it's called UWC, which is Universal Wrestling Corporation, which was like the fill-in name when Turner bought WCW. So we're talking about a very specific set of time. And yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen too much of the gameplay per se. It looks like kind of a standard wrestling game of the era. One of the cooler things about it, though, is the roster, because it has Jimmy Jam Garvin on it.
Go on.
Thank you, Brian. And like beautiful Bobby Eaton. So it's just got this random ass roster besides the Road Warriors, Ric Flair. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you have
Yeah, they don't have the names underneath them, but
you have Animal, Hawk, Sting, Jimmy Garvin, Bobby Eaton, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Barry Windham.
And Mr. Perfect.
There's no Mr. Perfect.
Was that not who?
That's beautiful Bobby Eaton right there, Brian.
That's not Mr. Perfect?
That's Barry Windham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mr. Perfect wasn't in WCW until the late 90s, Brian.
So neither Jim or I watched the video, but what I'm reading is that the YouTuber Archon 1981, he got a copy of this, and I'm really fascinated that by now, with the way the internet is, more of this hasn't come out. Like, there has to be a ton more of unreleased games.
Well, it's always comes out like piecemeal. Where like how like a couple months ago we had that the ROM be released of SimCity for the NES.
Yeah.
So going back to like the whole game preservation conversation kind of deal, like it's cool that there are these still random ass ROMs and prototypes sitting out there for shit that it's in someone's garage or at the bottom of a box or something.
Yeah. I'm also I always have I don't know what. I don't doubt that this is real, but I always have super skeptical hippo eyes when I see this shit and think, could it just be faked?
Yeah, it very well could.
And once again, this is without really digging into the video and how he came about it and all that. I just think, like, how easy would it be? Because how often do we see now people remaking NES games?
Oh, yeah. Like, you can easily do sprite swaps, and I'm sure the game engine probably isn't that hard to either lift off another WCW or WWF game kind of deal like that.
Yeah. Jim, can I make one mention?
Go on.
I'm going to have to put a picture up. And this is something I just noticed. But this guy, Archon, looks like if Jim and Benicio del Toro had a baby.
Ooh. Benicio, if you're out there.
He looks like he would relate to you, Jim.
Yeah, you know what? I can see that. Poor fucking bastard.
So I'm going to put the picture up, and I'm going to have Jim.
Do I have to do that face, or I have to do...
Oh, you do. Yes, you do. So it's just something that, as I'm skipping through the video, I'm noticing. So I had to throw it out there. I do like this, like Jim's saying, from a game preservation. So here's my question. When we find... When games like this are found, and even though they're not official released, I know hardcore game collectors love to find all those things. Like when you have a misprinted game, you find those versions.
Right.
So when you find these, do they become part of the official list, even when it's an unreleased thing?
I don't think it goes on, like, say, if you're like a collector guy going for like an official like North American release list.
Sure, not official. I'm saying that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying
if you're like a completionist and you see something like this, like I can't see them not going and buying a repro of it or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure SimCity eventually got like a repro kind of release deal like that. So
now that you saw this, and we've obviously expressed we're big fans of wrestling, if a repro came out for a reasonable price...
For a reasonable price, I'd be tempted.
What's the max you'd spend on it?
Probably 30.
That's not... You'd spend 30... Well,
I'm talking with like a box and manual. I'm talking the full shebang.
But it's a repro at that point. So my point is, like, I can understand spending on a closed-in box for value.
With repros, you're basically spending for the effort that people went about to make these things.
I know, but you're looking at the game right now. You would spend $30 on this? This is why you bought a goddamn Wii U 12 years after it came out and wasted way too much money on it. I rest my case, folks.
$30, not that bad.
$30 is terrible for this.
Not that bad. For a piece of history? For history, Brian?
It's not. If you spent that much on the actual cart he found, I would say okay.
Oh, he can put that up for like $1,500 because some crazy NES guy will
course.
fucking buy it. Like the people who bought the like that consortium that spent $100,000 to get like a sealed copy of Mario Brothers. There's worse than me out there.
People are
Way
willing.
worse.
Just the same people that are willing to spend, and this gets into the collector mentality, like on baseball cards and the rarity of them.
That went in the toilet. No, there's the bubble's gonna burst on game collecting eventually.
I mean, hey,
If you want to wait 20 years and come back to it and still have an interest in it, that's when you can strike.
no, and here's the deal. I'm not trying to like. You can have interest in whatever you want, spend your money on whatever you want, but it just acknowledge that it's silly.
Oh, I call myself mentally ill all the time. Trust me.
Well, I mean, you have plenty of other reasons than game collecting to call yourself that.
What, like? Never mind.
Do I need to go down the list, Jim?
His number one porn collection?
That's not mentally ill. That's just disturbing.
Good thing I don't have to have search histories on a computer anymore.
Just don't hack Jim's computer. Hack his computer.
No, I don't. My computer's only used for this site at this point. I don't put anything on there that isn't necessary. That thing has to last.
Damn it. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think. If when you heard about this, we're excited. Especially, we know we have a lot of fans that are into wrestling. What would you guys be willing to pay? Well, click on the link below. Watch the video. Would you pay $30 for a closed inbox repro, or would you be more reasonable and realize it's kind of not a knockoff, but it's like,
I wonder how much Jimmy Garvin would pay to actually see himself in a video game.
is he even still alive?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's not looking too good, but he's still alive.
What are the chances he's ever picked up and played a game?
Well, regardless, Brian. He's a wrestler. They're very
Oh,
vain
so you're
people.
using a word that you said isn't a word.
They're very vain people.